Hey, this is Steve with Priority Bicycles, and today we're going to go over how to fix a rear flat on your Continuum Onyx. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to flip the bike over on its seat and handlebars. And you want to place it down gently so you don't scratch your seat and rough up your grips. Once you have your bike flipped over, we can start by disengaging the shifter cables from the hub interface. We just want to lift this lever up and free it from its little housing. So once it's lifted up just like this, we just pull straight out. Once this guy's freed from its clip, pull the housing completely out of the hub interface and pull that guy to the side. From there, we can pull the other cable housing out of the hub interface. And the easiest way to do it is to put your finger in the cable and just follow it all the way around so that it moves with the barrel on it and it'll just pop straight out of the housing. Pull this guy out, and then we're ready to loosen the axle nuts. And once those bolts are loosened and your cables are undone, this guy will just pop right out of your dropouts. So you can just lift it straight out. Pull your belt off the cog, and you can start working on pulling your tire off. Once you have your wheel pulled off, you can start by grabbing your tire lever and flipping your wheel around to the exact opposite part of your valve. So you want to start right here, and this is going to be the part of the tire that will have the least amount of resistance when trying to pry off the tire. So once you have it under there, you just spin the tire lever around so you free up that whole lip. And once the whole bead of the tire is free from the rim, you can start pulling your tube out. Pull that guy completely out and push it to the side, and then pull the tire completely off of the rim. Grab just a normal everyday rag or anything you have laying around and run it through the inside of the tire and try to find anything that's stuck in there that may have caused your flat. If you do it with your bare hands, you're on the risk of cutting your finger or anything like that. So once you find that there's nothing stuck in your tire, you can start by installing it back onto the rim. And all you want to do is put one lip of the tire just inside the rim. And then you'll just have it loosely in there, so it'll just stay put. From here, we can grab our new tube. And what makes it easiest if you throw a little air in it before you insert it into the tire. So just throw it on there, lock this guy, and give it 1 or 2 pumps so that it takes shape. Once it takes shape and is kind of flexible, you can start inserting it into the tire. So first thing you're going to want to do is insert the valve into the valve hole of the rim. Just push it straight on there. And then once it's in there, you can start feeding the tube into the tire. While you're doing this, you kind of want to rock the tire back so the tube sits in the rim. And then once it's fully inside the tire, we can start inserting the second lip of the tire into the rim. So all you want to do is kind of just press it right in around the valve and then press this valve up so that it seats around the valve itself. And once it's in there, we can start by just moving both of our hands around the rim like this and just pushing that lip into the hook of the rim. And then once it's all seated in there, press it down around just to make sure that it's seated in there entirely. And then from there, we can start putting air into the tire. So we just grab this guy, push it down over the valve, and then lift the lever up. And if you have a different pump, the process might be a little bit different, but it's all pretty similar. But once it's locked on there, start pumping. I want to get this guy up to around 80 psi. Sometimes it's easier to look around the tire while you're pumping it up to make sure that it all stays put and doesn't pop off on you. But if it seems like it's staying put, just finish up to 80 psi. Press down that lever and pull the pump off the wheel entirely. Then we can throw our valve cap back on and start reinstalling the wheel. So to reinstall this guy, you're just going to want to wrap your belt around the front chainring and then around the cog on the wheel. And then we can drop the wheel right into the dropouts, the way these washers fit in. So they're made for no turn, so they'll slide right in. And if they're not in the correct position, the wheel will not go into the dropouts. So just make sure your disc brake falls right into the brake itself. And it'll sit all the way in the dropouts. From here, we can tighten down our axle bolts. Grab our 15mm wrench and tighten these guys down all the way. You can press down on the wheel just to make sure it goes all the way into the dropouts as you're doing this. Once your wheel is all the way in the dropouts, give it a spin to make sure that it's not rubbing your disc brake and your brake is in straight. And then from there, we can start connecting the shifter cables. So to get started with reattaching your shifter cables, you just want to start by grabbing the smaller barrel and routing it around the top of the hub interface. So you just wrap it all the way around here until it gets to this opening next to the clip with the dot on it. So this guy we just want to position so that it fits directly into here. So it's got two flat sides and a round side. The flat sides will slide right in and it'll sit just like that. There's a track that comes straight around the back, and all we want to do is get the cable in that track and pull the housing so that it sits right in the holder itself. Then once that guy's seated inside the holder on the hub, we just take the longer lever type shifter cable and insert the housing into the hub interface and just pull this cable until it reaches its little house right here and push that guy down so it clicks into place. Once you have your shifter cables all set in your hub interface, you're all set. You can flip your bike back over and you're ready to hit the road. If you ever have any questions, feel free to contact us at info@prioritybicycles.com.